issue 1 passed in Ohio, and what it does is essentially make abortion legal all the way up until the date of birth, or the birth date of the child. So tell us about this and what's your assessment of it?
Yeah, this is an emerging trend in the kind of pro-abortion political ranks, to kind of rob the people, if you will, of their representative capacity to restrict abortion. This is post Dobbs, kind of, the new hand-to-hand combat when it comes to the abortion debate. So what the pro-abortion kind of politicians do that are now in charge of the Democrat Party is they attempt to take control of the characterization of Republicans' pro-life position, and they mischaracterize it. They lie and they use propaganda to gin up the base with fear. And what they do is they put something like this out there, like issue 1, as a ballot initiative to modify the constitution of the state, in this case, Ohio. And they mischaracterize the pro-life kind of Republican position as, if this doesn't happen, if we don't pass this initiative, then women are going to die on the operating table because doctors aren't going to be able to provide miscarriage treatment. They're not going to be able, women aren't going to be able to get contraception, and women are going to be arrested and sent to jail for getting abortions. This is their propaganda. Not a single politician that I've ever heard of at the state or federal level has ever advocated for those 3 things, and yet that's how they sell it. That's how they gin up the base to get them to come out and vote for this. But it's not about abortion. I know it sounds like it's about abortion, but these pro-life politicians don't care about abortion. They don't care about women. They don't care about medical care or access to medical care. They don't care about reproductive health or choice. What they care about is what abortion gives them. Abortion gives them absolute power, the ability to decide who lives and who dies. That's what this is all about. And by the way, with these initiatives and the propaganda, it's not like Ohio is less pro-life today than it was a year ago. What happened is they outspent pro-lifers 5-1 with this propaganda and these lies, and the Republican candidates refused to talk about the truth about the very unpopular position of the Democrat Party, and that is they've never met an abortion they don't love. Okay, that's their true position, and when you say it's their true position, they're on their heels and they're backpedaling because they know it's a losing position. So they've got to intentionally mischaracterize the pro-life position and the Republican position as this horrific, horrendous future that's going to send women to jail. So we've got a serious problem, and it'll help if we raise more money. But it'll help even more if we get Republican candidates who are actually pro-life statesmen who can articulate the fact that it's the government's job to protect all people equally. Yes. Dobbs' case said, hey, look, it's the state's right to restrict abortion, but at the federal level, it's the job of government to protect all people equally. That's the 14th Amendment. It's also the job of the government to make sure that no one's deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. That's the 5th Amendment. It's not the government's job to decide who qualifies for protection under the law and who does not. That's what's happening right now. That's what these pro-abortion politicians want to rob the people of, and it's horrific that it's working. But all we need to do is educate. We need pro-life statesmen and a little bit more money, and I think people will begin to realize this is bad. And I'll tell you this: I say this is all about politics because while it happened in Ohio, it's happening in New York. Now you scratch your head and you wonder, well, why New York? New York is the abortion capital of the world, basically. Next to North Korea, it's got the most liberal abortion laws in the world. Why would they need a constitutional amendment to enshrine abortion as a fundamental human right, which is what they're going to do in 2024? That's and they'll get it too. Well, in order it'll get out the base so that they can flip House seats and take back control of the House of Representatives at the federal level, making Hakeem Jeffries the Speaker of the House. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, both from New York, are going to control both houses of the legislature. That's crazy. We're talking about communists here, and we've got we're talking about New York State being a dark horse battleground state for the 2024 presidential election. And here's the thing: if abortion is enshrined as a fundamental human right, it will basically outlaw all public pro-life activity. Now, follow me here. Follow me. I've been saying this for years. watch out, because I'm in New York right now, and this is what they've been trying to do: shut down all public pro-life activity. They do not keep this a secret. Biden says he wants to do it. Governor Hochul in New York says she wants to do it. Elizabeth Warren says shut these people down. Their goal, the pro-abortion terrorists, Jane's Revenge, and Front Group for Antifa, that's what they want to do: shut us down. That's why they firebombed us in Buffalo. I mean, this is if it is a fundamental human right, that is abortion, and a pastor preaches a sermon against abortion, and a physician refuses to refer for abortion, and a pregnancy center, refuses to provide an abortion, it will be construed as a conspiracy to deprive a woman of her civil right, which is punishable by fines and imprisonment. Mark my words. That's what they want. They want to eliminate the public pro-life expression. And this is very dangerous ground that we're on right now, and people need to wake up to it.
Let me ask you this, Reverend Harden. It's really, if you and I were to play clips of ourselves talking about this issue, we would hopefully pinch ourselves and go, is this really happening? And granted, this is not a new issue. This has been going on even pre-Roe v. Wade, pre-70s. Oh, yeah. But this like casual normalization where two Republican candidates are basically having a debate. Do we kill the baby at 5 weeks or do we kill it at 15? Like, which one do you think's better? I mean, this is quite astonishing and very saddening that we're at this point where that's even a discussion.
It is. It's dystopian. Yeah. It's barbaric to think, hey, let's come to some kind of consensus or compromise about how many babies it's going to be okay to kill just to get in office. I mean, you don't compromise and you don't create consensus around how many innocent human beings it's okay to kill. I mean, it's absolutely insane to think that that's a normal conversation. It's not a normal conversation, and it should never be a normal conversation. Look, what it represents, I think, here, Walker, is the fact that there's a social cancer, that America has lost her soul. She's diseased. And what I mean by that is we no longer understand what it means to be human. We've lost our ability to understand the fact that we are made in God's image. All people are made in God's image, and therefore equally valuable, deserving of protection. We get our dignity inherently from the fact that we're made in God's image. We don't get our dignity from government. We don't get our rights from government. There's a reason why the framers of the Declaration of Independence said that we are endowed by our Creator, capital C, Creator, with inalienable rights, not our government. And the first and foremost of all rights listed there is life. Why? Because it presupposes all others. You can't have another right. There's no point in talking about other rights if you don't have life to express them. And so, I think we've got to return in order to re-civilize America and get away from these barbaric kinds of discussions about how many weeks it's okay to kill a baby. Yeah. We've got to come back to this truth that we are made in the image of God and therefore equally valuable, without qualification and without partiality. And that means that.
Yeah. Jim, let me mention this on this topic of ideology and standard of pro-life standard from conception and natural death. I understand the pragmatic political discussion of if once you're elected, I don't think that these public polls and public sentiment and voting, what voters think should drive your viewpoints, what you fundamentally believe should drive your viewpoints, and then if people like it, great. If they don't, fine. But there's even trouble, and you've probably experienced this, getting people to agree that like what your fundamental standard is on the front end, what your starting position is, and where you end up. Those are two different things. Like, for example, Nikki Haley was on the debate stage this week in Miami, and she basically regurgitated the Democrat Marxist baby killing talking points that we don't want to put women in jail. We don't want to do this. It's like, Nikki Haley, nobody that has any sway or influence in the Republican Party is saying anything about locking women up for having abortions. We've got to stop abortions first, and we can't even get everybody to agree on that. So my point is we should all be able to say, those of us who say we're pro-life should be able to say without a doubt that abortion should not be legal and permitted under any circumstance. Now, if we get the president to sign a 15-week abortion ban, that's excellent. That is a step in the right direction. But as far as our starting negotiating position, it should be that abortion shouldn't be allowed under any circumstance.
Oh, without a doubt, our starting position needs to be abortion's wrong everywhere and always has been and always will be. Nikki Haley comes along and says, "Well, I think it should be we should start at 20 weeks." Well, 99.1% of all abortions happen before 20 weeks. She's about as pro-life as Genghis Khan. Okay, she doesn't understand that. I mean, all we got to do is and I did the analysis on all these positions. Even 15 weeks, that still allows for upwards of 93% of all abortions to continue. Well, you are absolutely right, and not to mention the fact that somebody like Nikki Haley is reinforcing the pro-abortion propaganda lies that got that issue 1 passed in Ohio.
Yes.
She is running her campaign based on Democrat campaign points. I mean, why doesn't she just become a Democrat? I don't get it.
Yeah.
As pro-life statesmen, we need people who are willing to step up and lead on the moral issues. Money is fine. You want to talk about money? You want to talk about the debt? You want to talk about inflation? Okay, fine. That's a derivative. Money follows morality. All you got to do is look at somebody's checkbook and see what they believe or what they're interested in, right?
Yeah.
If we can't find a way to protect the weakest and most vulnerable among us, we got no business sending somebody to Congress or to the House to determine how we're going to spend the rest of the money. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to keep pushing this. I know you're pushing it hard, Reverend. We've got to hold the line here because there's a lot of weak-kneed people out there, but we cannot. You and I can debate about whether we need a 7% tax rate or 7.5%, or whether we need 50 nuclear-powered submarines in our military or 55. But this issue of abortion is one that we can't squabble over. There's got to be a hard set line, and that is the biblical truth that God created us in his image and that life begins at conception and should be protected by the law, by the civil government, all the way from that point to natural death. Hey, Reverend Harden, tell our folks where they can check out your work, your website, and more about Compass Care.
Oh, thank you very much. If anybody would like to learn more about how Compass Care is saving women and babies from abortion and the abortion capital, then go to compasscarecommunity.com. That's compasscarecommunity.com.
All right, Reverend Harden, thanks so much for coming on the program again.
My pleasure. Thank you.